Hello, everybody. I think we are ready to start. Welcome. My name is Pedro Moreira, and welcome to all of you attending this Medinea On Air session from Escola Superior de Música de Lisboa in Portugal. Medinea On Air is an online project supported by the Erasmus Plus program. And today with us, we have Gonçalo Marques, Rita Maria, and João Pedro Brandão, three Portuguese jazz artists with very important and significant jazz career as artists, but also they are all connected with very important independent labels and institutions that help promote jazz in many different ways. And so the topic for today is a little bit a discussion around this idea of how a jazz artist should work with independent labels. So Gonçalo Marques is from Rubalo, Rita Maria from Roda, and João Pedro Brandão from Portuguese. And also Gonçalo and myself are here in Lisbon. Rita Maria is in Ecuador, on the other side of the ocean, and João Pedro Brandão is here in Portugal, but in Porto, in the north of the country. So welcome everybody once again, and I give the floor to Gonçalo, and let's start this talk.
Thank you, Pedro. Hello, everybody, and thank you for the invitation to be here. It's a pleasure to speak about these issues and to be a co-host in this discussion and conversation. So we will speak a little bit about our own organizations, and then in the end we'll have a bit of a conversation among ourselves and and answering some of the questions that the viewers might have. So I might start with my label / collective, musicians collective. And just a few words before, actually, we began, we took a lot of inspiration from João Pedro's organization Portuguese in Porto, which probably is one of the first, at least the most important organization in the north of Portugal for jazz musicians. He will speak a little bit more about that. Rita's label is a bit more recent, so I'm also curious to hear their story. And I will start speaking about Rubalo. I have here. Okay, so basically we started in 2016. Here is the picture of my friend Damien Cabo, who actually lives in Porto, but we had this idea that we could start a label, basically because we felt that there was a certain type of jazz music that was kind of aesthetically was kind of in between a freer and more avant-garde kind of thing and more mainstream. So we thought we couldn't find space for that in the labels that they were around, more or less. And so we thought that we could start a label to promote this type of jazz. So this was our main motivation at the moment, and we had other friends that felt the same way. So immediately there were some people that talked to us, and we put out some CDs on that year. But then all of a sudden we had this idea to do a festival, and we spoke with João Almeida, whose picture you can see here. And he's the head of the Antena 2, which is the national Portuguese radio that specializes in classical and jazz music. And he was very enthusiastic about the project. So we began this series of concerts, annual concerts. We started with 9 concerts. There was different generations, but from the beginning we wanted to focus on new music. New generation maybe a little bit more than the older generation, and also people from Lisbon, but from outside of Lisbon. So this is a quintet from very young musicians back then, not so young now. This is Quinteto de João Fragoso. Oh, well, I was supposed to show the video, but anyway. So we did this concert in 2016, and this festival, and it kept going. Next year we did 23 concerts on the festival. I mean, the funding was not great, but we decided that we should expand. We did actually something in Portuguese also, with Portuguese and in Coimbra, and then it kept going until today. This picture is from our last festival in 2022, which this is a concert with Susana Santos Silva, a well-known Portuguese trumpet player from Porto, actually, with Diedo and other musicians. So we are hoping, I mean, we know this will happen this year also. Meanwhile, some of the younger musicians were feeling motivated by what we were doing, and they decided to offer their help. And so they started to help in the festival, in other things, and it became clear that we were actually becoming more than a label. And so we decided to make it official in 2020, and we took the bureaucratic steps to transform everything to like a association, how you say in Portuguese. Finally, we applied for a grant from the Minister of Culture, and we were able to fund a full year of concerts, of weekly concerts and master classes. This happened from May 2021 to May 2022. And we did a lot of concerts, around 60 concerts, several master classes, some workshops. So here, actually, you can see João Pedro Brandão playing in our room, and then on the other side, you see actually João Paulo Esteves da Silva, who's going to be the host of the next session. And then the lower picture is a workshop that we did for kids, like an introduction to music through improvisation, which is a part of our activities that we also enjoy doing. It's more pedagogical kind of thing. We organized some special concerts also. We did this very good concert with Sara Serpa and Mark Turner and David Vireles, with a projection also. It was a partnership with Casa do Capitão in a very nice old bread factory, actually. So a very special place. And then we did a concert with Ben Moner, Tony Malaby, and Tom Rainey. And that concert was recorded, and it was very successful. And it eventually became our best-selling CD. So it was good to take advantage of the fact that there were musicians traveling around and to record it. So that was one of our goals also as a collective. Okay, we actually have partnerships with other collectives. With Portuguese, we knew each other for a while, and as I said before, they were one of our main motivations, I mean, inspirations for this. And one thing we do together is that we put every year a collective of musicians. We put a band together with musicians from Robal, 3 musicians from Robal and 3 musicians from Portuguese, and they play. These musicians play in their festival and they play in our festival. So this is one thing we do together, but we have other plans. We have something with Girassol, which is a collective from Viseu. They do a festival and other activities, and they basically we send one of our bands there. and we do other things together. And then, of course, Penhasco is our main partner here in Lisbon, because we don't actually have a physical space that we own, basically. So we use the space of Penhasco, which is a great place, and they are a very nice collective that features different sorts of artists also. So it's an interesting partnership for us. We did a series of concerts. We created a series of concerts for MAT, which is a museum of architecture, art, and technology. Is it something like this? Which is an important kind of recent museum in Lisbon. And we did these very nice concerts. We did a series of duos with young musicians, singer and trumpet or saxophone player. And then this very nice recent band called Percelli, and then another band called Dancing with Dawn, with people based in Belgium. And actually they also recorded for us. So this worked out very well. And then we did a very nice concert in TBA, which is also a contemporary theater in Lisbon. And they asked us to create a concert, and we did this concert with one of our bands called Living with a Couple. A bit loud, the sound, maybe. Well, it's a nice concert. The video is online if you want to watch it. Anyway, for us, the future, we have our festival this year. We have new CDs coming. We are hoping we can get a new grant to do another season of concerts. We applied for it. We probably have the answer from the Ministry of Culture in June, July. New partnerships, especially if this grant happens. And there's more. There's always ideas. We need time and some funding for this. As a conclusion, just some disadvantages and advantages of running a label. At least it's a lot of work, basically, of course. But you tend to do things that you really believe in, which is fulfilling, obviously. We don't have so much time to work on our own career, but of course we are helping to build a community. So that's also very good. And in the end can be good for your career also. This, for me, it's personally always a difficult thing for me to say no to some friends that send me CDs or something, and I feel it doesn't work out so well in our label. But again, we'll say yes to other people, which is always nice. You won't get rich for sure, but you probably would need a different profession to get rich. And then there's the very difficult question, who cares about this? Because nobody's listening to CDs anymore, right? And this is the big elephant in the room. And fortunately, some people still care. And there's a bunch of us, and they are dedicated musicians, and they work for the community also. So it's nice to have these people around. Thank you. And I'll maybe João Pedro would like to say a few words. They've been around for more time than us, so they have more experience and nicer stories also. I'll stop sharing. Okay. João Pedro?
So, hello. I'm João Pedro. I'm the director of Portuguese. Portuguese is it's a association formed in 2010 from a collective of musicians that were in the city in a time when the city wasn't investing I mean, the city hall wasn't investing in cultural subjects at all. There was no cultural department at that time in Porto, so we felt we had to do something for ourselves and for the city. So we start this movement. Also, this was a time a few years after the first superior degree in jazz was formed here in Portugal, which was here in Porto. And after that, the musicians were kind of lost in the city. So we had to do something about all of this. So we started this association, me and Eurico Costa, which is a guitar player from here. And we gather like 12 more musicians to start formally this association. And the first thing we did was our festival, and which turned to be our annual festival since 13 years now. And this festival was already, we gathered, I think, more than 30 musicians, maybe 40 musicians, and there was like 13 concerts, and all of them were of original music. Sorry. So this was a sign that our path was about creation in this area of music, but supporting the creation, the original music, the original writing, and this was a path that we defined right away in the beginning. So we start with this festival, and then our main goal was to have an activity that was weekly concerts. Having our project was to have our own venue, our own space to rehearse, to gather all the musicians from the city, and always with this intention of making possible to be a musician in Porto. So make an artistic, a sustainable, artistically speaking, environment for the musicians here. So to make it possible to make a choice of staying in Porto instead of going to other more important cities and to be a musician. So we start looking for partnerships, and we start to do weekly concerts. And this was a long way. We had like 8 different venues during this period, and eventually, right away, there was this obvious path also of making or creating a label. So that's what we did after maybe 2 years of association. We start to record all the projects that were already matured. So now we have 92 records, and we'll have more probably. And I'll show you. I'll just share my screen to show you our website, that it's kind of graphically easy to sorry. So there are 3 main subjects here, or main areas that we divide. So this is Espaço, it's our venue where all the concerts and rehearsals and residencies happen. Our label, and the festival, or the other activities we do out of our space. I'll show you the label. It has already 92 records, as I told you. One thing that it's important is that we never defined aesthetic, stylistic or aesthetic specific path. So it's our goal was to be mirroring the local scene or the local reality. So what we assure is that the projects that are released are created from this movement, and they have a certain quality or are in this philosophy of jazz. I mean, this is a big concept, but you know, like improvising, creative music. And but when I say it's a local movement, it's important also to be aware that we never wanted to make it a closed movement, not you know, like living around each other. So we always try to bring musicians from all over the country and all over the world, to not just to play here and influence us, but also to partner with them and creating situations where we can really interact and create together. You can I mean, you can all these records are available for listening, and you also have our YouTube channel where you can see a bunch of videos from our venue, from our festival, and you can see also that this happened in really diverse aesthetical options or choices. I'll just show you this funny video because in a So, well, this is just to show you that this is a movement of people, you know, like musicians that work together. So we had a really difficult and important decision we made a few months ago after being kind of tired of moving around the city with our piano. So we decided to rent a place and to be independent from you know, the city hall and the elections and blah blah blah. And now we have this space. That this was a really huge investment, and everyone put their hands in this work, as you saw. And we have now a beautiful, I don't know, maybe 50 musicians that are really involved from the, I mean, a lot of them from a young generation that see this movement as a thing that works. So this is a very healthy point of our life, where all these new people are doing stuff with us, and you know, making music, but also you know, doing all this important little stuff around this place. So we are making a resume. We have concerts every week in a space that it's open all day, all night for rehearsing and creating. We release all the matured projects. We we want and we cultivate the welcoming of musicians from all over the country and abroad. And we do this by trying to make partnerships with other associations, like Gonçalo told, that we have a partnership with Rubalo, and also other international platforms similar to ours, or other festivals that we try to make how do you say that?
Connections
exchanging programs from bands and musicians, and this is something we want to really improve and make it bigger. And but the most part of our time that we spend is to trying to find money to do all this stuff. But that's it.
That's life.
That's life.
Thank you. So, thank you, João Pedro.
Thank you.
Let us go to Rita.
Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here. So I'm gonna start by sharing my screen. Just a second. I will talk to you before, because I'm not finding my presentation for some reason. First of all, I'm humbled by all the sorry, just a second. I can't find my presentation. No worries. I'm humbled by all the work that has been done by these two associations / music labels. They are very inspiring for us as well as a label, Roda Music. To talk a little bit about the beginning of the label, we started off by being a trio of musicians with similar needs to what Gonçalo has described, which is to find a platform to edit our work without being subjected to major labels' views on this kind of aesthetics regarding contemporary jazz, contemporary music. We felt like this was a need that everyone shared, or at least a lot of our colleagues shared. So why not do a little bit part of this as well by starting a little label which could embrace, at least at the beginning, could embrace our own projects. We are three musicians. We started by being this trio, which is called Círculo, which is integrated by me, Mário Franco, the double bass, upright bass player and also dancer, and Luís Figueiredo, pianist and composer. We started in 2019 by releasing our first album, Círculo, and so we are the most recent project here today. Basically, what I have to say, which I wish I could say with the presentation, but it's going to take me a little bit to find, is that we are still a little bit away from the community work, the collective work that I see that my friends have already invested a lot, my colleagues. Being part of this community, having and sharing difficulties with the struggling of a musician's life with other people as well is something that we're eager to start to share, but haven't started as extensively as these other two labels. So at this point, we are based in Coimbra, which is it's Portugal's center, regional center, and we felt like in Coimbra specifically there was a need for other options, other opportunities in terms of record labels. We have an association there called Jazz ao Centro, but it's a very known association. They also had a label for a while. I believe they still do have the label, but not as active as before. And we felt that also, a need we had was to find bridges in between international musicians as well. So that's where we're at. At this point, we have 14 editions. And we just started a sub-label with electronic and electroacoustic music, which is something a little bit different from what we were doing originally. That started in it's actually started in April. We released it, and we have released so far 14 editions. Most of them are somehow still connected to us as a trio, as creators. But bit by bit, we're stretching our arms to embrace as well other musicians, and that's been happening already. And also to stretch a little bit the barriers in between what is considered jazz and contemporary music. So we're stretching a little bit what we feel is an aesthetic field that still has a lot, a potential to be edited in Portugal. So we do have an aesthetic orientation, which kind of differs a little bit from what João Pedro Brandão was telling us. He embraces all the projects because he's mirroring the community of musicians that belong to Porto. We decided that we were going for a more of a directed, oriented aesthetic approach, whatever that means, because it's very subjective. It's subjective to our particular taste. I mean, it is what it is, but that gives us a sort of coherence that we were looking for when we thought of the idea of creating a label. We also have this aesthetic visual approach to what we added. So we have a strict collaboration with the designer, and with the sub-label, which is called Eletro, Roda Eletro, we decided to also work with another team of designers so that we have, different perspectives and different visual perspectives, as well as different musical perspectives on what one label should be and what a sub-label should be. And we're still kind of considering opening more and more sub-labels at this point. But as I said, we're a very recent label, so we still have a long way to go. We did our first festival last 2021. We were funded by the government cultural grant, and that was our premiere on a festival, and it was very beautiful. We did it in Coimbra. We had 3 different venues collaborating with us. We had 6 concerts, so it's still an ongoing project. We did it to showcase what we had edited so far, also as an opportunity for Coimbra community to get to know the work we're doing, because most of the projects have someone that belongs to Coimbra as a musician, as a part of the works that are being edited, and also a conference and a master class. So we hope we get more funding so we can do more festivals, but also we hope to stretch our arms to a bigger community of musicians and create a collective environment that can be explored as well by others, not just the trio Círculo that has begun this journey.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you. I don't see any questions from the audience. So
yes, thank you. Oh, Fanny, I think is raising hand.
Thank you very much to 3 of you for this exchange. I think it's very interesting. And I have a question, maybe addressing more João. As I understood, if I understood correctly, when you started your festival and label, there were kind of a vacant space that was not filled in by the public institutions to give space for expressions to local musicians. And you took over this role in a sense, and I wonder if nowadays what is your relation with the public institutions regarding cultural matters, if they support what you are doing, or if you don't want them to support you, if you want to remain fully independent. This is my question.
Thank you for your question. Yes, at the beginning, this was like a statement, like we just arrived, made the festival. We are here. We belong to the city. We'll make it happen somehow. So And but I think a few, I mean, a little, I don't know how many time it passed, but the city all started to notice as in a, I mean, this was a very slow process, of course, in terms of money. It was really, really tiny money they were giving us for the festival, and now it's a I think it's a healthy relation between the city hall and Portuguese. They support our festival, not entirely or not near entirely, but we have yeah, we think. We noticed that this is really slow. It's I was warned, you know, there's a institution here that is Orchestra Jazz Matosinhos, and we are really related to them. They are from here. It's and it's an old, I mean, it has already 25 years. And the director Pedro Guedes, when we started, he told me that this will take time. Don't stress about that. This in 10 years we'll speak, and yeah, it was kind of like that. Of course, it was 10 years of trying not to quit, because this is a lot of work to put the stuff together, and you know, and as it's naturally, not everyone is putting all the energy in this kind of projects, so it's normally 2 or 3 people. I was kind of in just when I spoke of the foundation was me and Eurico signing, but Susana Santos Silva was already on board, so the 3 of us started this association, just to make it yeah. But now I think we also learn how to relate with the institutional with the institutions without losing our independence, you know, like without losing our choices, and yeah, which is not easy, because always the first answer when we ask for something is normally the institutions tell us what they want us to do, so that's not the point, no? So it's difficult. I mean, you know how it works.
Thank you, João.
Thank you.
So I guess we're running out of time. Maybe 1 more minute if anybody else has a comment or a question. I'm not sure. I'm not checking here our chat. Not really. So I guess that's it. We have a new Gonçalo, you want?
No.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, so we have a new session coming up, and so just to wrap up, I would like to thank a lot Rita, João, and Gonçalo for their very interesting and inspiring insights on this subject. I think it's really very important for any musician, especially young musicians, but for all musicians, I think. Also, just to remind maybe and suggest everybody to check their sites and their social media. It's very interesting projects. And to remind everybody, and just as a final comment, that we didn't really approach that idea in this session, but all 3 of them, Rita as an outstanding vocalist, João is an incredible saxophone player, and Gonçalo is a great trumpet player. So all of them are jazz artists, very important jazz artists with their own careers. And maybe that's one of the reasons their projects are all so much artistic oriented with such a rich vision. So maybe that's one of the reasons why these indie projects are so important, because they have a true artistic vision. So thank you all once again. Please remember that the Medinea On Air sessions will continue until the 26th of April. So I'll see you around. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.